because I did get this email from Sequoia. And it was starting to inform me about this prop. And in that, it inspired me to support her in creating political awareness around this issue. It says, published in the Food and Chemical Toxicology Journal, and up to 50% of males and 70% of females suffer premature death. This was in rats and Roundup. Here are some of the shocking findings in the study. Increased 200 to 300 increase in large tumors. So these are just some of the facts around GMOs, genetically modified foods. And here it says Prop 37 for labeling. So here we really want to label, and we would... Oh, so I'm so excited. We are actually doing a awareness builder for Prop 37. And for me, it was really about getting me to vote. So filling out a registration form and creating a way for other people to do so, and making it so that our communication of spirit, sharing around Prop 37 and why it is so essential for us to know when we are eating genetically modified foods. Thank you, Sequoia. Welcome. Hi, darling. Sequoia Lynn James, once again, we have you speaking specifically around
the labeling of our genetically engineered foods. They'd like us to believe that the food prices are going to go up if we vote no. But the truth is, by voting yes on Prop 37, we get to know what's in our food. The price of the food is not going to go up. The truth of the matter is that when the European Union passed their laws to make sure that genetically engineered food was labeled, a lot of the major brands that contained genetically engineered ingredients were no longer purchased. There was a large population that stopped buying those brands. And they're worried, of course, that the same thing is going to happen here. This is all about sales. In making a difference in our local government, for our local economy and our local belief systems, we have a greater impact in really putting our heart out there and getting the results that we want. Yes.
Ooh, let's label.
Click, you said?
I said the process is corrupt. I mean, being a Democrat and a Republican does not mean what it used to mean back in the early days. What were the early days?
Well, I mean, I think that it has always had an element of corruption, but that element has become more and more solidified and has taken away more and more of the individual's power, because it's more corporately empowered through how donating works. So the donorships actually go in and they're funded, and that takes away the smaller voices, because the smaller voices just can't compete with the money machine. And so there's more corruption, especially since corporations are now considered to have the same rights as individual people. So I think that it wasn't as corrupt, but it's always been somewhat corrupt. Would you?
Agreed.
The fireside chat. Come on, you two, the fireside girls. Exactly.
A fireside chat with Sequoia,
Amelia. Yay. And Surya.
behind the camera.
And here we are in front of the fire on this chill afternoon. And you were specifically talking about how important it is to just to have the choice, no matter if you believe in genetically modified foods and believe in their scientific backing, or if you believe that they are poison. It's really good to have an understanding of the labeling system, and it's just a right to be able to label.
Oh, absolutely. It is a fundamental right to know what is in our food and what's in our beverages. And I feel pretty passionate about this because there are so many ingredients that not only are they encoded or actually very deceptive. In some industries, such as the wine industry, they don't put anything on their labels. And this is something that we have a fundamental right to know what we're drinking, to know what we're eating. It doesn't matter if you believe in genetic engineering or not. Really, that's not the point. The point is we deserve to know what is in our food and in our beverages.
Absolutely. Would you have anything to add to that, Amelia?
You know, I have a lot of questions. I have questions about organic labeling and, you know, does the USDA allow GMOs to be labeled as organic? I don't know. And when I go into the store now, I look for GMOs. And there are GMO-free labels that were voluntarily put on products. But what I would like is to have more options, and to have that happen, I need to know what is obviously GMO and what isn't.
Yes, Ms. Surya, we'll go. So, in understanding the labeling for the wine industry, is you have made with organic grapes, the word organic, and the word 100% organic. And they all mean different things. And unless the wine is labeled organic, biodynamic, both, then you're guaranteed that that is made with native yeast, indigenous yeast, rather than the genetically engineered yeast. And it also contains no sulfites. So in organic labeling of wine, if it says it's made with organic grapes or organic, it can be definitely made with genetically engineered yeast, and also it contains sulfites. Sulfites are a chemical, a preservative chemical. When you ferment wine with native indigenous yeast, it produces its own sulfur. And sulfur, of course, protects the wine. It's a preservative, along with the alcohol.
So it's quite a complicated, there's so many go-rounds, and you know, the best defense against that is to be able to look at a label and read it yourself. Absolutely. Rather than just the hype on the front of the package, but what's actually in that package.
I see this a lot in the chocolate industry. We see the label, the organic USDA certified organic label on different chocolate bars. But the truth is, there's chocolate bars that have that label, and there'll be an asterisk with every ingredient representing that those ingredients are organic. But there'll be one ingredient that's not organic, because they're allowed, I believe it's 1%, a non-organic ingredient. And usually that non-organic ingredient happens to be G.M.O. soy lecithin. And this is the case in a lot of chocolate bars. So I've become a huge label reader of chocolate bars, let alone, of course, everything else. And once you read your labels, you start making all your own homemade condiments. There's nothing that's not touched by GMOs. Even if it's in the health food store, and even if it's an organic product, a vegan product, a vegetarian product, the chemicals that are made from GMO corn and GMO soy are in the hundreds. And even vitamins. Vitamin E, vitamin B, B6, B12, ascorbic acid, and then not to mention all the maltodextrin, maltodextrose, you know, all those sweeteners. Citric acid as well is from genetically engineered corn. So it really has to say that even the citric acid, that even the ascorbic acid is organic. And if it doesn't state it, most likely it's from genetically engineered corn.
It's interesting because I spent about a half an hour Harvesters, the grocery store by here, looking at mayonnaise. And they had an organic mayonnaise, free-range chickens, and then a organic mayonnaise that was labeled GMO free. And there I was faced with the decision of, I don't know if these are free-range chickens, but I know it's GMO free. And I had to choose the GMO free, and you know, I looked at that and went, wow, if we were just really conscious about our food, what a difference that would make. You know, I wouldn't have to decide between things created in a laboratory and treating our livestock fairly in order to avoid GMO products. And this new study that came out just recently about wheat, about GMO wheat, was I believe it was University of Wisconsin, but the dangers to children that might turn off genes in children who have been exposed in utero or even after utero to that wheat. And it is completely unreasonable for that to be on grocery store shelves before they know whether it will or not, because if it does, the study was saying, you know, that children without this gene tend to live only to 5 years old. And that's a pretty serious implication to just experiment with.
Very serious.
So, crazy.
And that one study was when? Do you know?
I just saw it today, and it looked as though it was released today.
And today is October
9th.
October 9th. So, and you found it where?
I found it through like an alternative news source online,
So,
and they just had a link to the release of the study.
so the information is coming out just how severely genetically modified foods affect our lives and our health and our well-being. And those studies, and Sequoia, earlier you were talking about how those studies are often repressed and made unavailable to the collective so that the collective is not being given the information that it needs to be able to make clear decisions around how to support a healthy diet.
Yes, it's very complex. Actually, it is the biotech industry's business to make sure that they do the studies, but often when they do these food studies, the food studies are only 60 to 90 days, not long enough to really get the results. And in order to do an independent study, there has to be the purchase of the seed from the biotech company. And of course, you have to sign a contract to get that seed. And right there in the contract, it says that you're not allowed to do any testing. So this is how it's being oppressed. Biotech, meaning Monsanto and all the big companies, actually donate large sums of money to major universities such as Berkeley and Davis. In fact, a college student nowadays is not able to study and do an independent study on genetic engineering unless the resource of who is donating to the school approves of the study, which means that Monsanto has to approve of the study of whatever that college student is going to do. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That was well informed. That's very important information.
Yeah. Hi, Anne. I'm well, thank you.